I grabbed the wrong color, but we're just gonna make it work anyways. Hello and welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me in this Sketchbox April 2022 unboxing. We have a lot to go over. I think this is the first time that I receive a box on time, which is crazy. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Unfortunately, they put the mailing thing right on top, so I can't show you the art on the box. But also, we didn't get our menu or the featured artist on the box, which was Morgan Beam. You should definitely check her out. The first thing that we have is the Spectrum Noir Tricolor Aqua that retails for $14.95. It's really cool, actually. I've never seen anything like this. Now, I don't know if that's because I don't use watercolor markers that often, but these are kind of built like those lead pencils that you kind of just stack them one on top of the other. If I can find a picture of it, I'll put it up here, but you could like take the lead out and then put another one behind it, and I used to love those pencils. It wasn't really a mechanical pencil, and was it? I don't know how to explain it, but that's what it initially reminded me of, and I hadn't seen a marker like that. The colors are super vibrant, which I really loved. And then we also received a Pit Artist marker in walnut brown, and it retailed for $3.70. I've had these before and they're really great. I love it because it gives it a nice outline without being too harsh, which is what I love about this marker. Next, we have a Koran water brush retailing for $9.85. This was a little tricky to figure out because the back kind of works like a syringe, and I wasn't sure on how to fill it up with water. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to like suck up the water, or if I should just put it in there and then flip it over. Like, it was really weird to figure out. I don't know if I did it correctly. I kind of just opened it and then let the water flow through, and then I flipped it over and closed it, and it seemed to work out pretty well. So I really don't like water brushes, but I'll talk about that later. Next is the Ecoline liquid watercolor in Ultramarine blue. It's a dye-based watercolor retailing for $6.95. I really enjoyed this thing. It was nice and vibrant, like how you would want these watercolor liquids to be, and it was nice and vibrant, and you could really play with the values. You could go really dark, or you could go really light by watering it down with some water, which was really cool. And for our surface, which I unfortunately did not get to try out yet, is the Custom Fluid 100 cotton pad hot press paper. It's 4 inches by 7 inches, and we have 20 sheets. It's in a block form, which was really cool. And then we have our Sketchbox sticker, which is featuring the Spectrum Noir Tricolor Aqua thing. But now that we went over all the items in the box, let's go over my thoughts and opinions on this box. And before I get started, here is my reference photo. I really had no idea what I wanted to do, and by the way that the markers were working on the paper, I felt like I really didn't want to do a portrait. I felt like for this I had to do something more still lifey. I wanted to go back into like illustration, because the way that these markers were working on my paper, and I'm not sure if it was my paper or the markers itself, which is why I wish I would have tried the paper that it came with. Where was I going with this? Oh, the reason why I didn't do a portrait was because the way the markers were working on this paper, it wasn't as soluble as I would have wanted it to be. Because what I really tried to do at first, and you can see it here, is I really wanted to put down a layer of water and then do a really light wash and then get darker in the values and stuff like that. And that wasn't working out. So I'm glad that I didn't pick a portrait and that I went with a still life instead, because my gut instinct was right. It was really hard to water down. And then I tried to put a layer of water, and then I tried to maybe like add a little bit of ink. But I think what I should have done too is put it on like a porcelain plate and then see if I could have diluted them or have like a nice light wash that way. I like the markers because they're very vibrant. I really enjoyed them for this like illustration style that you're going to see towards the end. So these markers are awesome. It's called the Floral Meadow set, which I think is very appropriate. These are very vibrant, and I could definitely imagine doing a nice, pretty bouquet. And Mother's Day is coming up, so I'm thinking about doing a couple Mother's Day cards, and I think I'm going to experiment with these on some watercolor paper, like some actual watercolor paper. And I wish that I would have tried this pad, but I really don't have time because I got my watercolor portrait special edition box that I'm going to be filming as soon as I post this video. I haven't opened it yet, and I'm really excited to review the items in that box. Like I really can't wait to do that. And here it may seem a little bit weird that I'm putting down so much red everywhere where the black is supposed to be, but that's because I was putting down a layer of red and then I was going to use the Ecoline liquid watercolor to put a layer over that to make a dark color, and then the parts that I wanted to be really black I would go back over with a gold layer. These were so awesome to layer on top of each other. I mean, I loved it. I can't wait to keep experimenting with these. I definitely think these markers are interesting. Because of how they're built though, I'm not exactly sure like the longevity. I'm not sure how long they'll last or how many uses there will be out of these. I'm hoping it's a lot, but we're just gonna have to wait and see because they're really short markers when you think about it, or maybe there's like some crazy way that it's patented and the ink is like along the sides of the tubes. I don't know. But I think I think it's really interesting, and I'm really curious to see how long these are gonna last or if they're gonna dry out or anything like that. The Koran water brush. My initial thought was that it's a super fancy brush. It looked really cool. It looked really sturdy. The tip is not soft like you would expect a watercolor brush, which was really shocking to me because I was expecting it to be something nice and smooth, something that you could easily, you know, like blend colors towards the end. But yeah, it was really weird. It says it's a fiber tipped water brush for blending colors and creating soft transitions, but it was really rough. So I'm gonna have to experiment more with it. It says you can fill it with water to dilute other pigments, or you can fill it with the ultramarine blue to create your own custom marker. What I did is dipped it into the ultramarine blue, as you can see here, and used it on the parts that I wanted to use it for. But then when I didn't want to use the blue, then I would just use it as a regular watercolor brush by dipping it in the water, because again, I don't know what it is with me and water brushes. They just don't ever seem to work out too well for me. This one, the control was actually really good. The control of the watercolor brush was good, which I can appreciate, but the tip was just weird for me. It was just really weird. So I'm gonna have to definitely try that out and see if I can kind of get over that. The Pitt Artist Marker, I think it's great. Like I said, I've used it before, and what I love about this, and I will say it again, is that it makes a perfect outline without being too harsh. Sometimes when you want to use an outline for watercolor, you know, depending on the subject, a black outline can sometimes just look so harsh, especially if you have these nice vibrant colors. It ends up giving an illustration that was originally very vibrant and like flowy picture, ends up giving it like a much harsher look. So I enjoy different color outlines for that reason, because it's not as harsh and your eyes don't immediately go to the bold outlines. It's kind of just easier on the eyes, I guess. And the pad, I'm very excited to try out the pad. I've never used a block style watercolor pad before, so I think it's going to be really interesting to work on this and see if working on one layer is going to affect the layer below, like in terms of warping, and what's gonna happen with that. I'm really excited to try these out. I think this is a really good box. The colors are just amazing. Yeah, I really have no complaints. I think it's a good box. I have no idea if the retail value is there because I try to go based on the items itself and whether or not I would enjoy experimenting with it or not, and not on its actual value. If that's something that you think I should start including in these videos, please let me know, and I will gladly start including it. Like I said, I try to just go based on the experience of each item. Now, if there's something on the menu or if there's something on the retail price that to me just looks insane, then I'll actually look it up or I'll voice my opinion on it. But all of these things seem fairly reasonable. Maybe the Koran water brush is like, whoa, $10. But again, it's Koran, and I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but it's a really good brand. It's a quality brand, so I'm not going to complain there. And for the liquid watercolor to only be $7, I think that's pretty fair. I mean, you have other colors like PH Martins that can get really, really expensive, and this is just as bright. I don't know if it's light fast, but it's very bright and it's very pretty. Now I'm going to get out of here and start recording that watercolor portrait video. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.